No one knows exactly the number of farm workers toiling in the fields of the state, but their work is the foundation of a $40 billion agricultural industry in California. While their situation may have improved somewhat in the last few decades, the struggle for better pay and working conditions continues. Filipino Americans played a significant role in the civil rights struggle of farm workers. Their contributions to the state's and the country's farm labor movement, however, are mostly unknown.
Great leaders such as Philip Veracruz and Larry Itliong.
Assemblymember Rob Bonta is hoping to change that with the help of the iconic farm worker leader Dolores Huerta.
The farm worker labor movement has been a very rich part of California's history, and telling the whole story to include the contributions of all of the critical principles and stakeholders, I think, is very important. The Filipinos work side by side with Mexican-American farm worker labor leaders and organizers to create one of the most amazing social justice, racial justice, and economic justice movements our country and our state has ever seen.
Assembly Bill 123 by Assemblymember Bonta would require the State Board of Education to ensure that instruction of the critical role of Filipino Americans in the farm labor movement is included in the state curriculum. Huerta worked side by side with Filipino Americans like Larry Itliong. He was a constant presence on the picket lines and in strategizing sessions with Cesar Chavez. Andy Imutan was another Filipino important in the movement. He's seen here in a picture next to Dolores Huerta, Larry Itliong, and Senator Robert Kennedy in Delano. Imutan was at one time the vice president of the United Farm Workers, and Itliong was one of the leaders of the historic Delano grape strike of the mid-'60s.
It's not just only about the farm labor movement, it's about the treatment of the way that we treat our immigrants in our country. And the Filipinos were one of the most discriminated groups. I remember growing up in Stockton where there were signs that said no Filipinos in different business places and hotels, and the way that they were treated out there in the farms, when we had the strike, the Filipino farm workers went on strike, and the employers shut off the lights and the gas and the water, so they couldn't even eat because they were on strike. And so I think it's important to get this history into the school books.
There's no doubt that the struggle continues, and I think one important part of being successful in that ongoing struggle is to tell the story in its entirety, to be inclusive, and to share that story, which is very inspiring to future generations.
This report was produced by the Speaker's Office of Member Services.